99.9% of junglers would have lost this game. That's not me trying to be egotistical, it's just a hard fact. I've dedicated a majority of my entire life to League of Legends, and that experience and knowing the game kind of inside and out is of course a factor in me carrying this particular game. The thing is, relative to your rank, you can also win these type of games because the concepts and fundamentals I'm going to be explaining in this review are applicable to literally every rank. Now, you may think it sounds ridiculous that something that I'm doing in Challenger can apply to a bronze or gold player, but it's true. I know this because I have coached hundreds of players from all ranks. Their main issue is always the same: mentality. Being able to play from behind or even deal with 3 losing lanes is largely about your mindset, with of course some key fundamental concepts that we're going to be revealing in this review. Lastly, you don't have to win every single super hard game. With what I'm about to teach you guys, if you can even win 4 out of 10 hard games with a big enough sample size, it can be 40 out of 100, which obviously will significantly increase your rank. Remember, we aren't aiming for a 90% win rate. The idea instead should be to aim for around 54 to 60%, with the focus being on steady improvement. If you're someone who wants to fast track that improvement on a day-to-day basis, guaranteed, check the links in the description below for my jungle coaching programs. Without further ado, let's begin. Alrighty, so jumping into the game now, as you can see, it's a low master / kind of high diamond kind of game. Like most of my reviews, this is going to be pretty laid back. We're going to be getting in depth. We're going to be getting into the nitty gritty of it, and I've just wrote down some notes here, right? Playing behind fundamentals, what this game really came down to, which we're going to be referring back to, is our mentality, right? That was number one thing in the intro. We need a strong mental and we need to be improvement based. So if you haven't checked out my video on the secret mindset video that I did, I would highly recommend going to check that out. We're trying to treat every game as if it's a test. We're trying to get answers correct and we're trying to improve. That's the number one priority. And with this mentality thing as well, obviously there are things like you need to play with chat off, you need to mute people, you need to not get influenced by your team, which is also part of this point right here. We need to have discipline. We need to not overforce just because we're behind, just because the game is losing. It doesn't mean we have to go for plays. It doesn't mean we have to follow our team's pings, let plays fall into our lap. And some in-game fundamentals we're going to be talking about is the minimizing and trading. This is a very, very common concept. When you're behind, you need to minimize and you need to trade, because the other concept, which is matching, is usually what you do when you're stronger than the enemy. Not just your individual, but also the game as a whole. We'll also be talking a little bit about drafting and about, the team comps as we go, and what my thought process is there. When we're more in the late game kind of team comp, this is also something you need to consider, especially when you're behind, because it's kind of natural to fall behind when you have champions like Veigar and Sona, right? Versus a Nautilus and a Sylas. We don't like playing with this as jungle, but it's kind of what we have to do. It's kind of you kind of have to play like that sometimes, right? You have to play with that mentality of like, yeah, we're going to win the late game. Staying as strong as possible and waiting for enemy mistakes. This is going to be a huge thing in this game that we're going to be looking at, because what I see all the time when I'm coaching players, they kind of they think that the enemy team is like, Faker. They think the enemy is like Thanos. But what you have to realize, guys, is that the enemy are also going to make mistakes. And what's important for you is that you don't compensate and you don't you stay as strong as possible and you wait for the enemy mistakes. Okay, because they will make mistakes. If they play perfectly, they deserve to win, right? And we don't need to win every single game. And ultimately, playing from behind is hard, okay? Ultimately, League of Legends as a game is very difficult. Being behind and playing from behind is actually very, very hard to do, because the game kind of just incentivizes winning and being ahead. And obviously there's things like bounties, which we're going to talk about. There's things like trading, which we're going to talk about. But we don't need to win every game to climb. So as we load into this game, I'm just going to go backwards and have a little chat about these comps real quick. I mentioned it just a little bit just now. We have Veigar and Sona, right? So my mentality going into this game is already thinking about ways that I can stall the game. Can I trade a dragon? Can I sneak a dragon? Can I, minimize on these plays? Can I do all these things to give us the best chance that we can have to get to that late game? And generally, the higher elo you go, the scaling side is much harder to play, but you can play it. You can win it. The enemies are going to make mistakes. So let's just go through it now. So in the first clear, you already see, right, something's going on. And I'm already pinging here like, hey, they have Nautilus, by the way. We shouldn't be invading. But it is what it is when this kind of thing happens, right? Just make sure to not sacrifice yourself. Don't make sure to not sacrifice your own game. You can see here, like, I'm not dying for Zac. I'm not dying for Veigar. I'm not dying for anyone. This is a new Kraken buff. This is also a video about, I wanted to test some Kindred with the Kraken Slayer buffs. Feels actually quite nice, to be honest. And in this game, right, we really don't have many places to pile towards. But the very first thing is that Nautilus used Flash. So that's at least one advantage I can play on. There we go. There's the mute all. I've got everyone muted now. I can lock in. I already I already kind of knew it was going to be one of those games where, and everyone was spam FFing in this game, by the way. So in terms of my pathing idea, I've got nothing to path towards. Top is like not bad, right? Zach actually has some decent gank set up for me. But overall, Nautilus uses the flash. When you are playing the enchanter side of things, right? When you're the Kindred versus when you have like the Yumis and the Lulus, sometimes you can path towards that lane to play off the fact that the enemy are going to play aggressive, right? Sometimes you can play off that fact. It is pretty likely that you'll lose the 3v3, but sometimes it is playable. Sometimes when the enemy are diving into you, you can have a good situation come in. The main reason I'm just pathing towards bot is obviously not much to play for in this game. So I'm just clearing to bot side here with that idea in mind. We have really no information on Echo until right now. And I'll also preface this video, guys. I didn't actually play super perfectly either. I still make mistakes. I can still review this game, and even if I had lost, I can still review this game and be like, hey, there were some tempo mistakes. There were some team fighting mistakes. There are still mistakes. For example, right here, you know, I'm kind of being a little bit too opportunistic already. I'm kind of thinking like, is this Sylas going to agree to push this wave? No, of course not. He has TP. Maybe if he had Ignite there, he might push the wave, but he has TP. So of course he's going to base, you know, he has good fundamentals, he's TP, there's no reason to risk being there. So I waste some time. So then we can just continue pathing towards bot side. As soon as you see some fighting happening, right? And as you can see, like, this is not going to be a full fundamentals video about talking about, you know, map awareness, mini-map prompts. I've done all that. You can go check out some of my other videos. This is about what I said before, is like enemy making an aggressive play, you might be able to clean something up here. And I actually found something in this early game. My early game was actually, you know, I picked up a couple of kills. I was able to play off the enemy's aggression. I was able to have that idea that the enemy were going to, you know, go for a gank on my Sonar. Now, in a different case, you know, they could have just got one shot. I could have found nothing. We instantly base. We don't go for the scuttle because this is about keeping good tempo. Fundamentally wise as well, when you go for a gank like this in lane, just instantly base here and run to your other side. My Grump is spawning at 420. This is what being called on tempo is. We're on tempo. We don't want to look for any extra moves. We don't want to go in for the scuttle. The reason is being also because my mark was spawning topside. So as you're running out of base here, I'm looking at top. I'm still, you know, even though it's this lane, like I'm still watching here. Like, is this a kill for me? No. So, you know, we both, he actually had tempo on me here, which is fine. I'm just going to go check for him anyway. I could have flashed that and probably killed him. It's okay. They're still not playing perfectly. I'm not even going to bother going in for his camps here because, again, when you're playing that side, when you're playing like the defensive side, I'm going to just call this the defensive side, the Veigar scaling side, the Nautilus roaming to top side, right? I do know that his Raptors are the same spawn as my Wolves, right? We know that because I did 1-2, he did 1-2. We know that by camp mirroring, these camps are the same spawns. But the thing is, you can't go for that in this game. You have to play that idea that you're always weaker and you need to think about the enemy tempo. Also, when you're versing some of these supports, right? The Nautiluses, the Poppies, all these kind of champions, we have to assume that these guys are going to roam more than our Sonar. Okay, it's not always the case. League is not black or white, but we have to assume that. So when he's missing and he's not bot lane here, don't go for this invade. Sylas, Nautilus moves here, your game's just ruined. Stay composed. Already here, right? Everyone's just perma-dying. This is classic. We've all been here. Everyone's perma-dying. This is actually a situation where I get a bit creative. So one thing that you can do when the enemy are being aggressive, right? You can think about League as a turn-based game. But it doesn't mean that you always will have a move, but when the enemy gives you information, you need to check. What information are they giving me here? Ezreal is low. That's one thing. Sylas definitely wants to go back mid to collect his wave. So I'm kind of doing some creative stuff here. I'm doing some secret agent stuff here, where I see my Marcus spawning. I know I'm level 5. I'm super strong. I know that Sylas wants to go back to collect his mid wave. So as long as I'm not being seen here, or I'm not kind of in a position where, and you'll see what happens. I'll just play the clip out. You know, I'm playing off the fact that I have information and they don't. That's essentially what I'm playing off here. I'm playing off the fact that I kind of know how the game is going to play out in the next 15 seconds. I also just saw the Echo smite the scuttle. So now I'm just walking in here. Okay, now I know that Sylas is based. So you can see here, I kind of know what's going to happen next. I know that it's hard for Sylas to move here right now, at least, when I'm doing this. But it is a little bit of a different situation to that invade before, right? I just have more information. Yeah, I'm being creative. Yeah, I'm having that little bit of X factor. The bot lane still rotates, but they're low, which I didn't really expect them to do, to be honest. And so, yeah, even in this review, guys, there is going to be some of that, like I talked in the intro, that there is going to be some of that X factor. And to win these 15% loss kind of games, you do have to have that X factor. You can see me as well, guys. I'm not immune to tilting. I was so mad that my Sonar was just not moving just not moving at all, even though I'm pinging for like 10 years. I have Kindred ult. I'm not immune, guys. I won't lie with you. I left this in this video for a reason, because I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. I was so mad here. But of course, it's good, right? I'm talking to nobody, which is good. So I die here, but I get some kills. It ends up being not bad, and we continue. We continue at least with chat off and pings off, but we're all frustrated. I'm human. And so it's okay. It's okay to be frustrated, but it's also good to know the things we're talking about in terms of our mentality. So round 2 starts. I died. Echo can easily, this is not a time to invade, and it's a similar thing before. I don't want to give this Nautilus right now, who could be running out of base, Sylas running out of base. I don't want to give them that chance because I'm playing the scaling side. I'm okay with this game going 0-0-0. Like I said before, relating back to this, when you're in this position, you don't, it's like I've got 4 out of my team's 7 kills. The enemy has 11. It's not completely doomed, but yeah, I have 3 losing lanes. Right? I have 3 losing lanes. That is what it is. Mid is solo killing. Nautilus is roaming. Bot is going to be solo killing more, which you're about to see. I am in a losing situation. What's important is that you keep your head strong. And you still, just because my Veigar is inting, he's running into the enemy level 1. This is also something I have to cover. A lot of times when I coach, I see people kind of like ignore the inter. But remember, the inter is like a chance for us to get a kill. So you still have to be aware, even though the Veigar is just running it, I have to still be aware of his lane. Because otherwise, if you're not aware, remember the enemy is inters too. Okay, so be aware. Keep your mind open. Just don't overforce things. I know it's a hard thing to know the difference of that sometimes, which just takes practice. So here I'm thinking about Dragon, right? I'm thinking to do with that win con, right? I want to get Dragon, but again, I can't. The bot lane has too much pressure. My mid wants to base. I basically used my move on mid. Can't do Dragon here. It is what it is. We don't want to try and force something, even though we want to get Dragons this game because we outscale. We're still not going to force. We are going to let plays fall into our lap. Okay, right here. Let plays fall into your lap. Let them, let them happen. Enemy does Void Grubs, so I really want to trade now. And honestly, between Dragon and my camp here, it was kind of hard to know which one to do. I think in hindsight, taking the Dragon probably would have been better than 1 mark, just for the fact of my comp and the fact that Dragon gives us so much. So it was hard. As a Kindred player, it was hard to know which one. As soon as I get that, right, I'm still in the mindset of Sylas can be coming, Echo can be coming. I know that their win con is to just fight. I know my win con is if the game nothing happens, that we're just going to win. Still having my eyes open here to this idea, and I think this is my other mistake. A little bit of compensation. My Veigar got 1 shot. This is my biggest mistake of the game, which was just trying to flex a little bit too much. I know I'm really strong. If I was to review my own game here, right, just base. Like, if I was to review one of my students here and I saw this, I would just say, hey, your Veigar died. You're not going to kill the Sylas here. It's impossible. Just press B. You have 1500 gold. Your Grump is spawning again. Keep your good tempo. Stay composed. Again, I'm not perfect, right? I'm going to show you guys my mistakes as well. And so we end up fighting here. I honestly, it was like nearly an outplay. Of course, Echo still has ult. I just misstep again. He flashes. I ult. Of course, out of the ult, I'm going to lose that because they have 2 people. So big mistake. Big mistake. Imagine if I just based and I was just on my Grump right now. The game is still totally fine. But yes, when you make those big throws, those big mistakes, yeah, you're gonna lose, or you're gonna increase your chances of losing. Okay, so next round begins. We're just gonna path again from top to bot, and the same idea is just gonna keep repeating in this game. Enemies, I'm gonna play off enemies' mistakes. I'm not gonna compensate. I'm gonna try not to compensate. Here again, keeping my eyes open, right? Keeping my eyes open to these opportunities. Holding my E. It actually timed out. I E'd a little bit too early. It's okay. My build this game was pretty interesting. I actually went Kraken Triforce Cleaver just because I wanted to be tanky because we didn't really have a front line. Yes, we had a Zac, but we didn't really have a front line. And I also wanted to test the build, and it felt pretty good. So looking at the game again, like my bot lane dies again. The game, this is the situation that I showed in the intro, right? The game is not looking great. I have 6 out of my team's 10 kills. The enemy have 18 kills. In this kind of case, we're kind of the scaling side, which is my comp. This would be considered we're bleeding out too much, because if the game was any closer, of course, at like 30 minutes, we just hard win because we have Sonar, they have Nautilus. Well, technically, yeah, like it's in our favor, you could say. So then they also get Dragon. I'm not compensating. I'm not trying to steal or anything. I'm just chilling. We're just farming. We're just chilling. This guy, I kind of recognize that this Sylas was a bit of a dirty inter. And so I've realized that, if he's just going to play like a psychopath, which is things you have to also realize. When someone has shown a trend of how they're playing, you can definitely take that into consideration into your thought process. It's kind of metagaming. I wouldn't say it's completely metagaming, but you can, if someone is playing super safe all game, right? You're going to think, okay, well, they've just been playing safe all game, right? But this guy's just been fighting constantly. You want to think about that lane. You want to think about getting fed. You want to target that inter. The same way your team is inting, right? And the enemy jungle might be targeting your inters. You got to target their inters as well to get fed. The whole idea is to staying as strong as possible and waiting for enemy mistakes. So we're going to also see some of these things coming in now as well. Into kind of like the mid game, we're going to see minimizing and trading. I'm going to come back to this. So we have a bunch of gold here. We just take a base, even though my camps are spawning there. Actually, I should have done my wolves first. Bit of a mistake. That's okay. Actually, it was fine. It was an efficient base. Something you want to think about basing is like, you should always do it generally when your camps are down because it's efficient, right? Your camps are spawning and you just maintain like that cycling and that income of your camps. Because I was waiting for my wolves. I didn't want to just sit there for 10 seconds. Looking for some vision. Still playing on the bot side, not doing anything crazy, not trying to force anything. So again, you know, something is happening bot side. I'm just farming, but I'm still keeping note of that thing. Still keeping note of it. I'm like, okay, well, nothing is happening here. I'm not going to just sit behind my bot lane. I see the Riven on the other side. So, you know, I wouldn't exactly call this trading, right? This was like a misclick of an ult here. I remember this. But, you know, it's just recognizing, like, it's recognizing as well just with awareness of like the enemy intent. That's absolutely huge. And as you can see in the bot side, this is where the trading comes in, right? Well, it's kind of trading. I'm not just sitting behind my bot lane there and waiting for the... I'm trying to trade the bot side, right? The bot side skirmish, I guess you could say, for the Riven kill, and then looking for top side camps. So this is just one, not the greatest example, but this is an example of how you can trade to make sure you maintain being strong without just fighting bot 3v3, for example. And I'll show you guys how I kind of translate this lead into the fights. And what I have to also remind you is that, so this is actually, I'll just look at the VOD here. This is the decision, like, should we go to the Rift here or should we go for mid tower? I ended up just going mid because I can just farm more this way. I think the Rift would also have been fine. Honestly, it doesn't matter that much. Mid tower Rift, doesn't matter. I just did this because I wanted to farm the waves. My Veigar went bot. Just fundamentally, whenever your, you know, mid laner roams to a side lane, taking over their wave, if you can, if you have nothing else to do, is really good. So at least the main thing here is that I'm doing something while the enemy is attacking here. I'm not just clearing these camps. This is something that's really important. You want to trade, because these camps are already mine technically, you want to trade something for the enemy going for a move bot. So they use a move here. I need to use my one move here. If I use my one move on my camps right now, right, instead of doing stuff when my bot lane was dying, if I just use my one move on my camps, then I wouldn't be able to now go and collect these, right? So now I can collect my camps, even though it is a little bit, I'm still like thinking, you know, they could invade. It's obviously better I work from back to front. I want to do these camps, I want to do this tower, this wave, this objective, then my camps. You want to work from back to front when you're trading, or even when you're not trading, just fundamentally. Okay, so another trade angle. I'm trying to figure out right now, I'm letting them give me the information. If they look like they're going for the dragon, I'm going to go for the Rift Herald. If they're going for the Rift Herald, I'm going to go for the dragon. So I already know here my Veigar died. This is an exact example of this mindset, trading. Just because your Veigar dies, don't just think, oh, we got to contest the dragon. We got to try and smite steal it. No, just go trade. Prolong the game, trade. I see they're all on bot side. I'm danger pinging. I'm going to do the... And again, this is one move for one move. Even though Rift Herald takes a little bit longer, you can see how they're trying to get back here, right? So it's so important here. When you think about League and you think about moves, I can't do this Rift Herald. I can't start the Rift Herald after they've already like killed it, because obviously they can now run over here and try and match this. I have to be thinking here ahead of time. If we just go back, which side are they getting vision on? Which side is Nautilus going towards? Is he going bot side or is he going top side? Looks like he's going bot side right now. And my Zac is... So I need to make this fast. If I went and did my Gromp here, and waiting for the thing to say dragon has been slain, I'm going to trade my Gromp for the dragon, which is not great because I want to do this and then get my Gromp. Work from back to front. If there was no Rift Herald, if there was like, for example, topside camps, I would want to do his red first. So very, very most important mid-game fundamental for playing from behind, also early game, is being able to trade. So I'll let the clip play out now. So you can see Riven coming back here, but because I did it pretty quickly, when they were doing it. And also our team is kind of here as well. We're getting control here. So as soon as we get it, we're not looking to like continue. We're looking to kind of like minimize. This is also just because their tempo is really good because they have this wave all the way. But I don't want to just Rift Herald mid right now. That would be terrible because that mentality is like saying that you think that you're stronger than the enemy and they haven't shown any information yet. So that would not be a good idea. Just chill. All right, we're just chilling. Would be a good idea to base right now. Surely I base. Okay, I don't actually have that much to buy. So I just wait for my blue. So now I won't base. Uptime, downtime. I'm not going to go too extensively into uptime, downtime. Made plenty of videos of it. So again, I'm just chilling. I'm just farming. I see echoes going to the bot scuttle, so I'm not contesting it. This is not really trading or anything because I don't really have anything to trade. I think going topside and looking to rift top here could have been okay, but I'm just having some spare time here. This goes back to just having a bit of creativity. This goes back to, okay, if Silas and Echo take a 2v2 here, might be good. And as you can see, we see that Echo is crossing to the top side. So I don't really, we'll watch the clip play out, but the mentality here is that we want to try and catch Silas and trade because they're playing strong side top. We're playing to trade on bot side. So in this case, I just decided to base because I'm going to minimize. The reason why I'm wanting to minimize is because if I rift held right here, we're only going to get one tower. We're not going to get this tower as well. So it's better to just minimize here. Minimize means that you're going to the side that they're on, but you're just trying to basically defend. So here, this is what's called minimizing here. If they went to push mid here, we're minimizing. If they go to push here, we're just minimizing by just defending. Defending is okay. Like securing your camps, for example, what I'm doing right now, is honestly really good. Like I like this. I like to secure my camps here and the game just to prolong. Like they're kind of sweating it now because we were able to scale a little bit here. They're kind of like, oh, this game's actually close now. It's only 13-22, but we have Sona Vega. So yeah, it's actually not even in a bad like game state anymore. And so here we have some spare time. We just want to be on the same side as them. We're going to the bot side here, right? We could think about trading top again. Whenever you trade, and this is what's important. At this point, I just kind of think I can carry the fight here, to be honest. If we were way weaker, you can just rift here, break 2 towers top here and trade this. Okay, you can do that. But at this point, I think I'm stronger or strong enough to where we can match the Arakan. Okay, that's the thought process. So I just think now is the time where I can carry. It would have been completely acceptable also, by the way, to just trade topside. It would have been completely acceptable. I'm just feeling it now. I'm feeling like I'm level 14, up 2 levels on the enemy jungler. I can carry. So we went for the fight, and everything that I've done in this game so far is all leading to this moment. And that's the same thing for your games. It's all going to lead to a moment where you have held your composure. You've gotten as strong as you possibly can. And then you still have to try, you still have to win, you still have to carry the fight. You have to translate to the fight as well. So if you can do everything up to the point of just now that we've just seen in this VOD, that's really good. That means that if if I didn't carry this fight, I would think, okay, it's okay. I did the right things, but now I just have to improve my team fighting. Now I just have to improve my champ mastery, for example. Okay. So here we instantly want to base. Okay. I don't know why I was checking for camps here. I should have instantly based. It's being a little bit greedy. So now I'm forced to base all the way back here. So uptime, right? Here it would be really terrible to like just go and farm all my camps. Right now that the next dragon is spawning, we just want to fight. I should be here with my team right now. My ult's in 28 seconds. We should try to be grouped here. And you also want to try and be a commander. This is not something I wrote in the things, but try and when you're 12-2, it is pretty likely, I don't care what rank you are, it is pretty likely that your team is going to listen to you, okay? So try and be a commander, try and ping what you want, try and ping what you want to fight, try and ping what's spawning, and these kinds of things. Here we just dropped the Riftchild mid because, as we fight this, we want it to just push mid. It also gives them an option of whether or not they want to answer the Rift or come and, take the dragon. In this case, the enemy team knows that we are outscaling them and the best chance they have to win is just fighting. Again, I think I'm strong enough at this point. So we just go for the fight. We smurf it. And so this is actually where we just end the game with Riftchild. That's why this game ends in 23 minutes because the Riftchild, we use it mid and it ends up, we just 5-0 them and able to end the game. If you're able to learn something from this video, guys, make sure to leave a comment down below. Leave a like, leave a sub. Again, to just reiterate one last time, you don't have to win these kinds of games. You can just take whatever improvements you can from this game, move on with your life. It's okay to lose these games. However, with the right mindset, you can win these games. And like I said, if you're going to win 4 out of 10 that you usually would have lost, in the grand scheme of things, that's going to be a lot of games. So it is important that you always strive and not give up in these kinds of games. And yeah, that's it. See you all in the next video.